Insider reveals a major Falcons draft update after NFL free agency. And Falcons fans, this is where things start to get really intense because after one of the most aggressive and calculated free agency periods in recent memory, the Atlanta Falcons are no longer a team scrambling to fill holes. They are a team setting up a strategy. And that strategy, it might come down to one very specific decision in this year's NFL draft. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Charles Jones, and you are tuned in to Falcons Digest. First, I have to get into this quote that was written by Scott Kennedy of Sports Illustrated. He says, even without a first round pick, ESPN shows the Atlanta Falcons can add production in their latest 7 round mock draft. So I'm very excited about that. We're going to see how much talent we're able to actually get with no picks in the first round. We'll see how this works out for the Atlanta Falcons. Prominent ESPN and Bleacher Report NFL draft analyst Matt Miller wrote Atlanta boosted the edges of its defense last year by selecting Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. in round one, but the middle still needs work. Miller wrote on ESPN talking about Christen Miller from UGA is a rock at nose tackle and does the dirty work of keeping interior blockers busy so linebackers can get their groove on. You already know what Jalen Walker is going to do at the edge, and I'm interested to see if Ojulari is going to start for us or not. We have some thumpers already at linebacker, and the edge rushers can run free. And like I just said, Jalen Walker is right there on that edge, ready to eat, baby. I can't wait to see how this is going to work out, man. And that's basically setting the stage. So the Atlanta Falcons came into this offseason with clear needs, especially on defense. And while they addressed several areas in free agency, they didn't fix everything. Okay. So according to a recent 7 round mock draft breakdown, Atlanta is now in a position where they can be selective, but they still must hit on a few key positions. And at the top of that list is defensive tackle, wide receiver, cornerback, and quietly offensive tackle is becoming a long-term concern. So now here's where the conversation really begins because with the 48th overall pick, the Atlanta Falcons are projected to select defensive lineman Christen Miller out of UGA. And this pick says a lot about what this team is trying to build. For one, he's a hometown guy. We're bringing a lot of hometown talent here, and I love it. I'm hoping that we are able to get any kind of hometown talent. And Miller isn't the kind of player that jumps off of the stat sheet with huge sack numbers. So don't, Charles, why would we even get him? That's not his game, okay? But what he does bring is something that this defense has been missing for a long time, and that's interior presence. At the combine, he measured 6'3", 321 pounds, giving him the size to anchor the middle and the quickness to disrupt plays before they develop. He's the kind of defensive tackle who absorbs double teams, who clogs running lanes and forces quarterbacks to move off of that spot. And that last part, that's key. Because when quarterbacks can step up comfortably in the pocket, edge rushers lose their impact. And the Falcons have already invested heavily in edge talent, but without interior pressure, those investments don't fully pay off at all. So that's where a player like Christen Miller changes everything. Even if his individual stats don't tell the whole story, this is what football people call a multiplier, a player who makes everyone around him better. So let's talk strategy because this is where the Falcons have to be smart. One of the biggest takeaways from the mock draft is this. If the Atlanta Falcons do not address defensive tackle early, the drop off in talent at the position is steep. we're talking about a significant difference between second round talent and what's available later on. So if the Falcons pass on someone like Christen Miller at 48, they may not find another player capable of making a real impact on the defensive line. And that's what makes this decision so important because wide receiver, that class has depth. And I'm praying that Zach Branch, please fall. Zach, please fall. Zach Branch, please fall. Zach Branch from UGA, please fall. Oh, sorry. Cornerback also has depth. They are deep. But defensive tackle, especially players who can step in and contribute right away, that's a much smaller pool. Now, zooming out for a second. This entire draft approach reflects something bigger about where the Falcons are as a franchise. They are no longer rebuilding, they're refining, they're building depth, they're strengthening weak spots, they're thinking long term, especially with questions on the offensive line where veterans like Jake Matthews aren't getting any younger and Caleb McGarry's future isn't guaranteed. This is how stable, competitive teams operate. So let's answer the big question. Who should the Falcons draft? If the board falls the right way, this projection suggests the answer is clear. It should be Christen Miller, not because it's flashy, not because it wins headlines, but because it solves the most important remaining problem on the roster. He gives the defense balance. He unlocks the pass rush. He helps turn a weakness into a strength. And if the Falcons get this pick right, don't be surprised if this defense takes a serious step forward this season because sometimes the moves that matter most are the ones you don't immediately notice. And speaking of not noticing something, UCF edge rusher Malachi Lawrence put on a show at the NFL Combine. His traits put him in company with Myles Garrett, Montez Sweat, and TJ Watt. Miller has him going at number 50 to the Lions. It wouldn't be surprising to see the Falcons call his name if he's available on draft night before the Lions, is what Matt Miller is saying. So, with Matt Miller's background and him being a professional NFL draft analyst, I definitely trust what he's saying and what his eye is seeing. So, if the Atlanta Falcons do call Malachi Lawrence, would you guys be mad at that? Another thing, he is one of my kind of sneaky picks in the draft, and I kind of hope that this guy doesn't go to anywhere in the NFC South because I don't want to see him on the Saints twice a year, Bucks twice a year, or Panthers twice a year. Don't want to see it. Don't want to see it because the comparison of Myles Garrett alone scares me. And this guy does play very similar to Myles Garrett. I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons got him as well. Him or Christen Miller. I would prefer Christen Miller if the pick was between these two guys. Actually, in my opinion, I would prefer an offensive lineman. I don't care which one from UGA. We can get any one of those guys off of the line. I mean, UGA breeds talent on the offensive line and defensive line. That is a well-known fact. But those are my opinions. All right, Falcons fans, now I want to hear from you. Do you agree with this approach? Should we go defensive tackle early or take a swing somewhere else? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe for more Falcons coverage. And per usual, you already know what it is, man. Peace up. You know the rest. This is Falcons Digest. Stay blessed.